guys, this is a little update video on my life. So I just had surgery.
Yes.
And
Whoa. And where are we, Azzy?
And we're in Toronto.
We moved to Toronto for a little bit, but
Yes.
we're gonna go back and forth, Amsterdam, Toronto.
Exactly.
We were here for a few weeks, just getting settled, and we didn't even make an update video on like the fact that we moved in here. And all of a sudden, Azzy got a lot of pain.
Yes, I got a lot of pain in like my lower stomach, and I was like, oh no, what is happening to me? It woke me up at 6 a.m. and I was like so confused. I went to the doctor, and the doctor did some like little tests, and he's like, you need to go to the emergency room right now. So I called Jordy and I'm like, come take me to the emergency room. Because I was in so much pain, I didn't think I could get there myself. So he picked me up, we went to the emergency room, and then all hell broke loose. Because we had to wait in the lobby for so long.
I think we waited 5 hours before a doctor like finally went to check on Azzy.
Yes.
Which obviously is very dangerous because an appendix bursting can...
We haven't even gone to that point.
Oh, sorry. Oh yes, of course.
So we thought it was either my appendix or my ovary because of where the pain was. So
or Azzy just had to fart.
Or that.
That was the joke we had.
Yeah. So I was just like, it was just like the worst pain I had ever felt. And they left me waiting, and then they're like, we think it's your appendix, but we're not sure. We need to do tests.
Yeah.
We can't just remove it. And I'm like, fair enough.
And it was another 5 hours of waiting.
Yeah.
And then they did some tests.
So they put an ultrasound on me and in me, and they...
in your butthole? No.
Not in my butthole. But anyway,
TMI. Too much information.
So they did an ultrasound, and then they're like, we're gonna double check just to make sure. So it turns out my appendix was like bursting.
Turns out we're having a kid.
Oh,
there's a baby stool.
There's a baby stool.
Yeah.
I'm
joking.
We're not having
there was
a
no
kid.
kid.
And they're like, okay, so we think it's your appendix, but we're not sure. You're gonna have to wait for the results. So we go back, and I'm like lying in the hospital bed.
Keep in mind.
In an IV, and I'm drugged up.
Keep in mind, we went into the emergency at 5 p.m. Right now, after the tests, it's 1 a.m. An hour past midnight.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is how long I've been there, like in pain, dying. We're waiting for the results. They're like, it shouldn't be that long. Another hour passes. Another 30 minutes passes, and Jordy's falling asleep, and he's like, I'm gonna go home and sleep.
Because we live pretty close to the hospital, so it's like 5 minutes.
And then
I was under the impression I would wake up and Azzy would call me up and be like, the surgery went great. Meanwhile,
I'm like in the hospital, and I'm panicking because I've never had surgery before, and I'm by myself, and I'm crying because it's like there's all these sketchy people in the hospital too, and I'm just like, oh no.
Quick disclaimer, the hospital was really dirty. Like there was piss on the floor in Azzy's room. And there was blood on the toilet.
Yeah, it was really, really dirty and gross. And I was just really scared and nervous, and I felt really lonely, and I was probably emotional because I was drugged up.
You were very much.
And I was like just crying. And
Jordy, I need you.
And they kept to come to my room, and they're like, are you okay? And I'm like, yes, I'm okay. And I'm just like panicking.
Yeah.
And a doctor didn't come see me until 5 a.m. and was like, we finally have your results. Your appendix is gonna burst.
And it's like, oh, no way. Azzy didn't know that 12 hours before.
And I'm like, okay.
When the last doctor said the same thing.
I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, so what's the next step? And he's like, well, we're gonna have to go into surgery, and he's like giving me all like the things that could go wrong.
Your appendix has to be removed.
Yeah.
Yep.
And all the things that can go wrong. He's asking me if I'm okay with them putting blood into me in case something goes wrong, and all this other stuff I have to sign off against. Tells me about like how they're gonna do the surgery. So there's 2 ways to get your appendix removed, and one is like it's a really bad scar, and it's just one scar, but it's big.
Big scar.
And they take the appendix out of that. Or there's another way, which is it's 3 scars.
3 dots.
One of them they pump gas into your stomach with to separate your organs. One of them I think it's for like the camera, and the other one is like the tools where they take the appendix out with. So that one apparently, like the scars aren't as bad. I didn't have a choice. That's just the method. They're like, this is the one we do here. I'm like, okay, sounds good. And then I'm still waiting. And they're like, you might have to get surgery around noon. And I'm waiting, and Jordy's like, I'll be back around 8 a.m. 8 a.m. comes, he's not there yet. 9 a.m. comes, he's not there yet. And I'm like crying, I'm freaking out. I'm like, I've never done surgery before.
And 11
I'm like,
a.m.
I need my boyfriend right now. I'm just freaking
11
out. And I had no phone either. My phone was dead.
Quick disclaimer. I was under the impression that you went into surgery.
You were gonna let me go to surgery alone?
Well, I thought, they would just help you and take care and not let you wait for like a full 24 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wasn't allowed to eat or drink water. So at this point, I'm like completely delusional. No sleep, no food, no water for 24 hours. And finally at 11, an hour before the surgery, or 11:30.
No, 11 I arrived.
At 11,
And,
right before the
I was
surgery.
like, okay, so I arrive at the hospital and I'm like, okay, well, there's no point in rushing it because as he's being treated well, I've myself stayed in the hospital, which was in the Netherlands, not in Canada. And, they treated me very well. I was super drugged up. I didn't even know what was going on. So I went to get some McDonald's because I didn't get any breakfast because I was rushing, of course. And I arrive at the hospital and I'm like, okay, so I dropped off my girlfriend at emergency yesterday, but I have no clue where she is right now. Maybe she went into surgery, maybe she didn't. And they go, oh, okay, well, you can find her here. And they gave me a piece of paper, and I followed the piece of paper around. And it's at the exact same spot where I left Azzy off. Like, you didn't move.
No.
You were still on emergency. It's like they could have just put you into any other room because I'm pretty sure yes, you were still an emergency case, but why the hell did they have to put you there? Still,
Yeah,
for that long,
nothing.
24 hours.
Just waiting
almost.
around, staring at
Just
the ceiling.
waiting around. I think they didn't
Crying.
have enough doctors over there or whatever.
Yeah.
Pretty much a horrible experience. And then they said, as he was telling me like what was up, and then they took Azzy into surgery, and I said, Azzy, I'll wait for you in the waiting room.
Okay, so when they brought me, because I've never, this was all new to me. He was like, have you been signed off? And I was like, I don't know what he means. So he initialed my tummy, where I was gonna get the surgery. And because I was so drugged up, thought that he was give me an autograph. Remember?
Yep.
But Jordy was like, no, they're just supposed to do that. And
Yeah.
I was like, he gave me his autograph on my
Azzy's
stomach.
like, he's so nice. He gave me an autograph. I'm like, of course, Azzy, yeah.
And before we went to surgery, this is important. I thought they said, your boyfriend is gonna be in waiting room 9. And I'm like, okay, waiting room 9. So they stroll me into surgery, and I'm over there, and I walk in, I guess.
But they didn't say that to you.
I swear
They said to Azzy, they said you will be in 9B.
Okay.
And then they told me you need to wait in that waiting room, which is a surgery waiting room, and then eventually you can go up. However, Azzy was so drugged up this entire time, by the way, just like when you sent me back home, and now you're making me feel guilty. She told me, go back home. No, you need to sleep. Go back home. Anyways, Azzy was so drugged up that when they said, you will be waiting in 9B, she probably thought I was going to be waiting in 9B.
They pushed me into the surgery room, and I'm so confused. There's 15 doctors, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, what's gonna happen? And I'm terrified. And they put an oxygen mask on me, and they're like, okay, you're gonna get a little bit sleepy. And I do get a little drowsy, but I'm not asleep yet. And I start panicking. I'm like, oh no, I'm not fully asleep. I don't want them to perform the surgery on me when I'm not asleep. And they're like, and I start saying, I'm like, I'm not asleep! Don't start! And then they're like, no, we haven't given you the anesthetics yet. And I'm like, okay. They're hooking me up to the heart monitors and stuff. And then I'm still panicking because I'm like, they're still not putting me to sleep. And then finally, they're like, okay, we're giving it to you now. And then I'm just out cold.
So they told me to wait in a waiting room, and they gave me this pager which would keep me up to date with Azzy's surgery. And I was just chilling there watching the Google keynote, which started perfect timing with your surgery. It's as if they knew. And I get these things starts buzzing. Oh, surgery started, everything going good. And then, this doctor eventually comes over after an hour and a half, and he goes, looks around in the waiting room and then points at me, goes, you must be here for Azzy. I go, yeah, that's correct. He goes, well, soon your pager will go off and he'll say the surgery went great, no complications. She can probably leave the hospital today. So I'm like, great, when can I see her? Well, I have to wait another hour. So I kept on asking, when can I see her, when can I see her, when can I see her? They end up telling me, oh, you can go to 9B and then go from there now. So I go there and I walk in and this lady just stares at me, stares at my hair, and she goes, the love of your life is waiting in room 170. So I'm like, oh, okay, how does everybody know what I look like and stuff, and who I'm with? This is the second person. So I walk into room 170, and there's this girl who I don't know, never seen in my life. and she looks at me, she goes, "She's on the toilet." And I'm like, how does she know I'm not in the wrong room? So I end up like waiting, and Azzy comes down and she's like, "Oh my god, I thought you left me." And I'm like, "What?" It's been like an hour and a half.
So let me tell my side of the story now. So I wake up from surgery, and while they were performing surgery on me, I was dreaming a Harry Potter dream. I don't know why. And I thought that they were sorting me with the hat to see what house I'm in. So I have the hat on, and then right before I find out where I'm supposed to be,
Griffin, no.
right before I find out, I wake up from the surgery, and I'm like, no, take me back! I haven't found out if I'm a Gryffindor yet. And then they start laughing. They're like, sounds like you were having a fun dream. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm still like, at this point, I'm like really drugged up. Like, this is like next level. I'm like, what? I've never felt this in my life. And then I like had to keep my eyes closed because it was too intense. And then they were doing stuff, and then I felt a doctor do something on my forehead. I wasn't sure what, but I thought he did like that Simba thing, you know, from the movie Lion King.
Simba.
So I just go, Simba! And then I just start singing Lion King the whole time. And I'm annoying them.
And then what?
And then they're like, I'm like really anxious. I want to leave. Okay, and they're like, are you okay? Like, do you need more painkillers? And I'm like, no. I just want to go see my boyfriend. They're like, okay, like you need a couple more seconds. I'm like, okay. So I'm like trying to rush. I'm like, can I go now? I was just so excited to see Jordy. And I explained to him, I don't know, I wanted to tell him about my dream for some reason. They take me, and I'm like, he's in the waiting room at 9B. So they take me to waiting room 9B. And he's not there. I go from being the happiest person in the world to the saddest person, and I start bawling, and I'm like, Jordy! And I like start going insane. So they take me to my room, they put me in bed, and I'm supposed to be resting, I'm supposed to be lying down, I'm not supposed to be walking. I escape my room, and I'm in this nightgown where it's like
your ass was showing.
The back is all open. But I didn't realize because I was still like coming off of the anesthetics. And I start running down the hospital, and I go up to every person. I'm like, have you seen the curly-haired boy? Jordy, have you seen him? Tell him I'm looking for him. That's how everybody knew what Jordy looked like, because I ran around everybody, and they had to chase me down and bring me back to my bed. And this was like in 2 seconds, and then finally Jordy came to my room when I came out of the toilet, and I was like, ah.
And then we sat there, we talked a little bit, and Azzy said like, well, the doctor said maybe you have to spend another night in the hospital.
And I didn't want to.
Azzy really didn't want to.
I was too miserable at the hospital. I really wanted to be home and like not by myself. So I was like, I didn't want to stay.
And Azzy was feeling pretty good, so
at that moment,
we ended up going back home.
I begged the doctor. I was like, please let me go home. And he's like, well, I can't force you to stay against your will. Like we want you to stay, but I can't force you. And I was like, I'm fine.
And the reason they want you to stay in the hospital is because you just got your appendix removed. And there is a chance.
An organ is gone.
Yeah, there is a chance that if you do something wrong, it can start bleeding again. So an appendix is just a useless organ.
So it's an organ that used to have a purpose like ages ago, but now it doesn't really have much of a purpose. I read some articles where they think that it has like a little bit of a purpose.
It's pretty much useless.
But it's pretty much useless to the point where it causes more problems than fixes problems.
Exactly.
And sometimes people get unlucky, like me, and food can get into your appendix, and that food, it could even be a seed, will start to rot and cause an infection, and your appendix will start like
getting bigger. It's like this big. Don't worry about it. It's not that big.
Stuff.
It's like this big.
And if it stays in there and explodes, what happens is all that poison inside of it gets
flung inside
of you, and you can die. So now our technology is so good that they can help you.
Yeah. So
you
Azzy's appendix didn't burst. It got to a point where it was getting close to being bursting.
Yeah.
And then it hurts a lot on the right side here, by the way, if you're ever wondering.
Yeah. So if you ever have pain, guys, make sure you go to a doctor.
Get it checked out.
Don't be like, oh, I'm gonna be okay, because next thing you know,
boom! Azzy got it removed and got a few stitches, and we went back home. We thought the worst was over, right? From here, it was just all downhill.
Little did I know that after whatever they had me on at the hospital wore off, like, it was just beginning.
Up until now, we thought everything went good and flawless. And we were like happy, everything went great. And Azzy's like, you think I can do this next week? And I'm like, yeah, it'll be fine. And I helped you write this little Instagram post, like, hey, I'm doing all good.
Now, do you want to help them tell this story? Because now for me it's a bit blurred.
Okay,
What
so then
happens from now?
we get back home, and Azzy just lays down and starts sleeping, and she just goes, ah, and starts yelling, ah,
I
and it's
having
like,
this pain
like,
in my chest
ah,
and
I got some
shoulders.
pain here, and I'm like, well, that's probably just, still, it hurts
Which I
here,
thought I
and then
was
it
having a
radiates
heart
upwards
attack.
or whatever, and Azzy just goes, ah, and she's just screaming and shouting, and I'm like, maybe it takes some more painkillers, right? They gave you painkillers for a reason, and you need to take them at certain times if you need them. And as he's taking painkillers, and as he's getting super nauseous and so much pain, her eyes were rolling back, and sometimes she was hallucinating, she was screaming, she was shouting, she was sweating. Very scary. And they didn't tell us what this was. Okay, especially not me when I'm taking care of my girlfriend.
They should have told us.
So I'm like a little bit scared. I'm like, okay, first of all, they probably know what they're doing. These are doctors, they've done it a million times. This is probably all part of it. But second of all, back in my mind, I was thinking, there's always this 1% of people where it just all fucks up. It all goes wrong. Mind the language, sorry. It all just goes wrong, and for something as simple as getting a paper cut, you end up losing your hand. So I was thinking that's something like
What
Azzy's
happened
having
to
right
me?
now. And this entire night, as he's screaming and shouting in pain, and there's nothing we can do about it.
But it's like every time I would breathe,
Yeah.
I would get pain. So I was trying to hold my breath because I was
Yeah.
in pain. But you can't just like hold your breath like all night.
Yeah. And then we end up calling the nurse.
In the morning because they weren't open before that.
And the nurse.
Nurse goes, oh, that's normal. Basically, they didn't tell me this. They had to pump my stomach full of gas so that my organs can be separated so they can perform the surgery easily. By the way, after the surgery, I looked like I was like 4 months pregnant. Like my stomach was this big, full of gas.
Yeah.
It was terrifying and it hurt a lot. So she was like, well, that gas pain, what happens is it moves around inside of you and it pushes on your nerves and it causes nerve pain throughout your body. So you're gonna feel pain
Which is
in weird places.
horrible.
Which is something they should have told us.
Yeah.
Because nerve pain is like very different from any other pain. They don't understand it. It also,
The
painkillers don't
painkillers
help with
they
the nerve pain as
gave
much.
doesn't work, right?
Yeah, so like,
Yep.
and I thought I was having a heart attack. Like, they should have told us.
Yeah. Then they said, well, what you have to do is you have to go to the toilet. You have to fart, pass gas, poop, whatever. And that's why they gave us laxatives, or Azzy. So, Azzy's taking them. But meanwhile,
working.
2 days passed or whatever, 3 days, and Azzy's still having the pain. And the pain is so severe, Azzy was having hallucinations.
Like, I was hallucinating people were hitting me. I was hallucinating that I was having sleepover
Sleepover.
with fans
Yeah.
in a clown house. And then I was hallucinating at one point that I was being forced to build a statue, but it was hurting me.
And many more things.
But this wasn't from, like, the painkillers. This was from the pain.
And in the meantime, Azzy was having these, well, at the time it was constant pain, constant like, it hurts everywhere. And then when I went to talk to Azzy, her eyes were rolling back. So I was like scared. I was like, well, this is clearly not working. So I end up calling the nurse again, and I believe we're on day 4 right now. So this was 4 days of Azzy in excruciating pain, being sent home from the hospital without any further explanation.
By the way,
of what
keeping
was
him
going
up
on.
all night. Like, Jordy didn't get any sleep this whole time because I was screaming and crying all night.
Also, Azzy couldn't walk or sit up straight herself, by the way. So she couldn't do anything that. Like, this
Yeah,
was
Jordy had
already
to help me with
enough.
everything.
Which I did because I love you. Okay. So I end up calling and they go, well, you can get this one thing at the pharmacy, which you ended up getting, which, the poopy thing, which, you stick it up your butt and it makes you poop. And did it work?
That
And,
was interesting.
Interesting, very
Is
interesting.
this TMI?
No, it's not. It's educational. It's educational.
It's medicine.
Right? It was
It
medicine.
makes your insides
Go.
contract.
So, Then Azzy the next day spends pretty much the whole day on the toilet. Azzy was still in pain, but it was much better.
But my tummy wasn't as I looked, instead of 5 months pregnant, I was like 2 months pregnant.
Yeah. From there, it went all much better, and Azzy was able to walk again. Azzy was able to shower again. Azzy was able to, talk again, record videos again, move around again, dance again.
For those of you guys wondering, all the videos that you've been seeing on the channel the past week, I have recorded them in the past. So like, I don't record just one video a day. I record a couple just so that in case something like this ever happens, you guys always have a video to watch, because I don't want to disappoint you guys and not have a video for you. So this was all past videos.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is why I do that.
So now,
I mean, I hope that this never happens, but.
Well, you can only get your appendix removed once.
Yeah, exactly.
So now, Azzy's taking some very light painkillers to
like
suppress
Tylenol.
The pain a little
I'm
bit.
sure most
They're
people
not really
know
painkillers. What do you call them again?
Pain relievers.
Pain relievers, whatever. But they help against the pain, but they're not super severe. It's what you take when you have a headache, right?
Yeah.
And you're slowly picking up your life again. So for 1 week, it was a big mess, not just for Azzy, a little bit for me too.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's fine. There's nothing you can do about it. And that's why we felt like making this little update video.
So
a lot
we
of
can
people
fill
have a
you
lot of
guys
questions.
in. So now you guys want to see a backflip, right?
No,
I'm kidding.
So Azzy is not.
I'm not.
The healing is about 6 weeks.
6 weeks. So I'm not allowed to lift anything heavier than 5 pounds for 6
What's
weeks.
5 pounds? This vase, whatever.
It's probably 5 pounds. Yeah. So I need to be really careful. I can't do. I have to make sure I don't tear it open again.
Yeah. So no gym for Azzy, no heavy lifting of anything for Azzy.
I was like in such a good routine, guys.
Yep.
Like before this happened,
Her butt was this big.
I was going to the gym every day. I was working
So
on
healthy.
that booty.
Wow.
I was
Yeah.
And then this happened, and now like I can't go to the gym
Grocery
anymore.
shopping.
I
Can't do that anymore.
I had to stop making videos.
Yep. But now from here, it's all
Going uphill. Yeah.
uphill is bad. Or is it good?
Yeah, downhill's bad. Uphill's good.
But downhill's easy because you go easily down the
It's
hill.
all downhill from here. It's all up. I think you're right. I don't know, but
It's
it's all
gonna be
good.
much better. I don't even know anymore at this point. It's gonna be much better from now on. As he's still healing, and every day we go for a little bit of a walk, and we do
Oh,
something.
that's another thing. The more I walk, the faster I heal, they said.
Yeah.
So
first, Azzy was not able to walk any more than, from the bedroom to the toilet, and now...
And there's a toilet attached to our bedroom. So
yeah,
it's not far.
And now we went for like a 30-minute walk yesterday, which is really nice.
Oh,
so we're slowly
when I
building it up.
when I first went outside, guys, I started crying because I was like, it's so beautiful.
I can finally go outside again.
I can finally walk outside, and Jordy took me to the dog park, and I
Yeah.
watched the cute puppies
We
play
went
with
to
squirrels.
look at puppies.
They were so cute.
Yeah, so...
that was like the highlight of me being sick, going to the dog park.
Yay! So everything went great. We're gonna see how things go, and we'll probably keep you up to date on social media. But right now we have a few things planned for next week. Azzy's already been recording videos. Azzy has been filming other secret stuff. We have a party soon. We have many more parties in Amsterdam soon because we're gonna go up and down a little bit. And then we probably have a few events too we're attending. So hopefully everything will go great. We don't want to put too much pressure on Azzy. And at any times I've told Azzy, if you feel like we're anywhere or you're anywhere and something goes wrong, you can call me or just tell me, and we drop everything we're doing, we rest, and make sure your health goes first.
Yeah. Also, to you guys, if you have any problems, make sure you go to the doctors. Don't let it sit, because I don't want any of you guys to go
Go
through
to the
this.
doctors quick, especially if you live in Canada.
Our clinics are fine, just the hospitals.
Yeah.
You don't go to hospitals unless you're dying.
Yep, and you were. But you made it out
Yeah.
alive. Yay!
Yeah.
And even though it got pretty sad and everybody was panicking a little bit, we managed to push through, Azzy, and especially you managed to push through.
Thank you for helping me. I really appreciate it.
I did my boyfriend duties.
We love you all so much.
Bye-bye. Love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.